Railroad Preserver 2000 here, back again doing another video in the middle of nowhere, otherwise known as the East Jesus portion of Greene County. I'm more or less out here in the middle of the woods at a town formerly known as Scull Shoals. Apparently this was a community that was originally founded in the mid to late 1700s and was pretty much a ghost town by about the early to mid 1800s. I could be wrong on that, but there's some of the ruins up over ahead in front of me there. There's the info plaque here, and there's what I'm basically going to try and do is photograph and document all this while it's still here somewhat. So, yeah. So these guys are trying to more or less preserve all this as best they can. So yeah, 1784 was when the first settlers arrived. By 1845, a fire destroyed the first mills here. Civil War didn't even know this place was in existence. 1887, flood pretty much covered the town, washed the bridge out, washed any wood structures away. In 1897, the mills were sold and the town was abandoned. So yeah, 1784 to about 1897 was when this town pretty much, that was about as long as it lasted for, and then the U.S. government bought the land by the time the Great Depression rolled around. But yeah, first structure apparently is superintendent's house, damaged by a flood in 1908 and was here until the 1930s. Blacksmith shop and covered bridge. Toll bridge was built in 1809, lost in 1841. And then 1887, the bridge was lost again, and then a ferry was used after that. Oh! Power plant and wasteway bridge built in 1846. Power plant held a turbine, powered all the mills from the dam. Bridge was damaged in a tree fall in 1999. Manager's house, built in the 1800s, remained occupied until removed in 1935. Company store and warehouse, underwater for 4 days in 1887. Then there's a fort, Frontier Fort Clark. Chimney bases, wells, and some vegetation for mill houses. So yeah, the town technically came up in about 1810 and was gone by 1897. So it lasted for just about 100 years, give or take. And I'd imagine they've got this numbered, so in case y'all are curious, here's the map. And the info boards 1 through 4 and 5 through 7. And then there's the river down there, all flooded out from all the rain we've had over the last 2 to 3 days, which has been going on ever since the video I posted at Harris Shoals Park. And now, of course, Scull Shoals was named for the similar stretch of rock you saw at Harris Shoals, where the water is just flowing over essentially flat rock. Today, the shoals are gone here. They've been buried under about 14 feet of sediment from what I read. Probably even more or even less nowadays than when what I read was first posted. So this is the remains of one of the buildings. I don't know which one. I'd have to check for when it's numbered. Doesn't say what it is. It's a shame. I wish it was numbered. Make it easier to tell what this was. But I think this must have been either the warehouse or the general store, if I had to guess. Oh, wow. So I guess a lot of this. So if there were any other ruins, they're now underwater for the moment. Look at that. That's from all the rain, ladies and gentlemen. And right here, I think is an old chimney pile. I'm sure Aqua Chigger, the gentleman who does all the metal detecting in New England, would probably know better than me. And before you guys start raising hell at me, that guy's name is referring to a water bug. Hence the aqua and the other part. That's just what some people call water bugs. Both up there and down here. Anyways, I digress. But look at this. This is kind of like what a low country marsh would look like, just without the red clay staining the water. Now, I can tell you there's probably water moccasins, snapping turtles, and what all else here. I'm sure of it. But it's pretty. It's quiet too. But you can see the remains of the building here. There would have probably been a window right there, along with the wall. Now, of course, with all the vines, that sucker is not going to be standing for much longer. In fact, you can see where bricks have fallen now. These aren't machined bricks. These are all handmade, I think. Every last one of them. But you can see how high the water is. I mean, hell, look right here. Yeah, so all this is underwater at the moment. They weren't kidding when they said there was a flash flood watch. Okay, I'm going to get to higher ground. And if there's any other trails out here, I'm going to have to just see where they're at. Because I think, well, it seems to me that this here is the only ruin that's actually accessible. I may have to come down here during a drought spell to just get the pictures I need. I also might need to get a stick to deal with snakes. But, yeah. I think most of the ruins are most likely underwater. Because, yeah, look at all that. All that lowed land down there is flooded. And over there's the river, the Oconee River, I think. So that's all underwater. Which means a lot of the ruins that I just mentioned are probably underwater along with it. Well, save for this. I think this is another foundation. Yeah, because there's bricks here. A lot of old brick. Yeah. So that must have been what was left of the mill houses. Yeah. That's exactly what this is. What's left of the old chimneys and old houses here. Because you got foundation stones here, and then the bricks are all from the chimney. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Because look here. It's all that. So that, unless that was like, well, yeah, this was a house, because I believe these are daffodil sprouts. I could be wrong on that. It makes sense. Then you've got more stones that have been washed down. So if they're able to come out here and excavate all this, they could probably find a good bit too. But I think a lot of the other ruins are down in the low parts that are now flooded at the moment. That or I'm blind and they're all right in front of me. But I guess these two are the most prominent ruins. I guess the rest are only going to be accessible if you have a boat. Okay. And I'm not, I'm afraid I'm not exactly a post 10, quote unquote. I'm, for lack of a better term, I'm not that, what's the word? I'm not that fearless. But this is neat to look at, rain or not, flooded or not. Got more stones out here. Maybe those were probably foundation stones, give or take. And I'm just trying to walk wherever it ain't underwater. Even if it is flooded, even though the water might only be a foot or two deep, I'm not going to chance it. Because that is the perfect ground for snakes, God knows what else. Because the land's going up and down as I walk. In fact, see, look here. More water. Sure, if I come down here another time later on this week or something, it might be low enough. They're doing a lot of controlled burning too. Anyways, I'm going to end the recording for now. The whole wall's gonna collapse down, and when it does, it's gonna be a bad day for them. Okay. So the trails, or at least this one rather, would continue through. What the hell was that? Is that a beaver? Or is that a damn gator? I don't think there'd be alligators this far inland, but I don't want to stick around to find out. So this is one trail that's now underwater along with whatever ruins are out there. And here's the other one, which is also underwater. Okay, so that tells me all I need to know. Alright. And before you ask, there is no way in hell I'm going to continue in this. You'd be better off getting me in a flat bottom boat built for the marsh. That'd be your best bet out in this. No, wait a few hours and the water should drop. A few days, that is. So I think the trails are wherever people have been walking constantly. Makes sense. But since this is an all-volunteer run style thing, it's not going to be very maintained because they're only able to do just what's needed to keep it all going. Yeah, I can see where the trail continues right there, but ain't no point, it's all underwater. I ain't gonna risk getting snake bit. I'll just have to come back whenever the water's down. But this is considered, I guess you could say, a kind of teaser for this. I'll be able to, once the water's down, I can come back. But I can tell you, here's where some of the photographs were taken. Arched doorways here and here. So it's interesting, this was kind of built a little bit like an old brick freight depot for a railroad, only there was never a railroad out here. But the design is almost similar, because you would have had what looks to have been maybe a wooden like loading dock along the edges, and then you would have had a roof with an overhang up top. And of course, if you see the picture at the beginning of the recording, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about and why I'm saying that. You can see where the fence is collapsed. There was probably a door or a window there. Another doorway there. Anyways, over there is the now raging Oconee River. You can see even from here it's flowing fast. Anyways, I'm going into here, so I'll see you later. For now. That's a short school bus. Yes. I'm just filming the drive because it just looks pretty enough for it. Yes.
sun. Very seldom do we find a brown sign we don't like.
Yes.
That's a good idea to film it going out.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to creep. I mean, I was just saying. Yeah, that's just smothering, or smoldering rather.
Smoldering. There's a big tree. There's the other part of it.
Yeah. I think they burned through here, didn't they? Yeah, look at all that. It's interesting how that road's like a cut, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, then again, it was probably higher up towards the top of what's now that hill
Could be.
when it was initially done, and as they keep grading it down, it just gets lower and lower in. I think. I don't know, I must be losing my mind. That logging road hadn't been used in a while. I'm seeing trees down across it.
They pretty much let nature take its course about these fallen trees.
Unless they're on the main roads that they know they're going to use. In that case, then they just cut out what they need.
So it sort of looks like going to JP's house, going down the driveway.
Well, a lot of ferns, though. I'm noticing that. A lot of old, nice ferns.
Yeah.
There's a little creek there, a little spring-fed creek.
But it looks like the only trees that they cut are the trees that go across the road.
That's what I mean. More smoke. Is it just me, or has that gotten closer?
It's gotten closer.
So they're letting this stuff burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hope that couple out here is aware of this. God, that looks eerie, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Perfect set for a nice 80s horror film or something.
Yeah, but this
Where they'd get like all the fake smoke in to make like fog or something.
Yeah, but it's much closer now. Because I just barely saw it. I just happened to look up.
I think it's just like them burning all this underlying scrub brush. I know they do that up in New England.
Yeah, they do it in Arizona too, because they don't have water.
Well, I think they do it to prevent wildfires mostly.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Controlled burning. Another tree that fell across.
Yeah. But other than that, they just let nature take its course. Which is essentially what they do at Botany Bay.
Oh yeah. Of course, they did mark the ruin.
Yes, they did mark the ruins.
I just wish they did that here. I mean, I understand there's trails, but there's no real like thing per se. There's nothing to really let you know. You might want to stop.
Yes, I will.
I mean,
You want to get out?
yeah, that's what I was wanting to do.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, there's a creek here. I wanted to film. You can tell they got a lot of water. Look at the sediment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that.
Flowed here and then went straight down into the floodplain, which is all right in there. So all this water here is going towards the creek. That you guys saw was completely flooded out earlier. But all this low stuff down here and down here is a floodplain. Once the water from this creek you see coming up gets high enough, it'll overflow into the floodplain area here until it drains back down. In fact, this is the same creek that you guys saw down towards the river, which had completely flooded out. And as you can see, there's the reason for why the water's so high there. That's all water coming out from like farmland and whatnot. And you can tell just by like say some of the trees and sandbars, this creek is much higher than it should be. Of course, the bridge is also another good indicator. And here's where some of the other floodwater's coming into the creek here. Which means there was obviously something that happened further upstream. So the creek is actually diverted over to here and is flowing out here. Or this is all runoff from further upstream and whatnot. But either way, it's interesting. Anyways, I'll see y'all later. I remember all this right here was a cornfield about 15 to 20 years ago. I remember my mom's dad and I coming over here and him getting some freshly grown corn on the cob. That was a long time ago. I was just curious to see if this little road here went down to the river. It doesn't look like it does. Or if it did, it doesn't anymore. Well, actually what I was trying to do is see if there was a path under the bridge. And it looks like there is, so I'm going to try and take it. The reason's because the field on the opposite side of the road's flooded and I wanted to get a picture. Well, I'll be damned. So it does go under. Interesting. Interesting view of the river there. You can see how high it is. But does this go back out on the other side? I feel like a coal miner doing this. Okay, so it does come out the other side. Good. That's what I wanted. Somebody dumped a stovetop out here. Well, good. That makes this easier. Now I don't have to deal with getting hit. My grandmother's going to think I just became freaking Houdini, I bet. That's good though, it means I don't have to worry about dealing with all that. I ain't trying to cross that, no way. I'll just double back the way I came. Now, but that right there is why I wanted to come over here and get this picture. That's not supposed to be a lake. That is actually just farmland. Well, we're gonna go over here to this sign, be the best place I can get to get a proper photo. And I'm gonna stand on that side of the sign for safety's sake. You can see where the water came in, right there, and then down, leading to this. That's all normally farmland. I know because I've been out here long enough. Alright, let me get out of the way. I got a semi coming. Right there. Yeah, you can see it better through here. Anyways, I'm going to end it here, so I'll see y'all later. I'll be 2K signing out. Even though this is probably against any kind of better judgment I have, I'm going to try and skirt down here. Why? Because I'm curious to see just how bad the river's flowing. I'll have to just turn the camera off in order to climb back out. But here's something interesting. I always wondered why these were slanted. Now I know this is how they help curve the road. If they're going to make a curve in the bridge, they're going to slant this up on one end and down at the other to make it so it's easier for the cars to traverse it. Now if you look further back, all that there is normally solid ground. That's underwater. For what my grandmother said earlier, the last few days led to the highest levels of rain they had ever seen, period, in the state in over 25 years. So yeah, that's fun. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to shut up now and let you guys hear the river for a few minutes.